welcome back to my channel. My name is Julie Ambani, commonly known as Jules. On this channel we love to talk about books, literature development, and a sprinkle of other things here and there. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, share it, and let's go. So I'm so excited. Last time I shot a video, I was actually doing a review of xoxo, which I loved. I gave this book a solid 5-star. It was fast-paced. The story was so interesting. It was like watching an action movie but reading it. So I really loved this. So immediately I finished xoxo, I picked up book 2 of the duology, which is Crooked Kingdom. And guys, I love this duology. I think it's the first duology I've ever read. I really I'm used to reading trilogies a lot, so this was my first duology and I love it. I think it's like my best duology ever. Well, because it's the only one I've ever read. Book 1 ends on a cliffhanger. I don't really want to say how it ends so that I don't spoil anything for anyone considering reading this series, but book 2 picked up immediately where book 1 left, so there was no time lapse of sorts. Book 1 ended when the crew had been given some form of ultimatum. One of them got kidnapped and they had to bust them out, and obviously, Cars being Cars, they had to rescue the crew member and also get their revenge in all of this. So book 2 was equally as action packed, but I will say book 1 was a bit more action packed. I feel like in terms of pacing, book 1 was paced much more faster. Like with book 1, I was literally at the edge of my seat because it was action upon action upon action. They were breaking out this guy from this tower, so it was just like this happens, and then what makes this story even more, I guess, like intense, it's because it's happening within a short period of time. They literally have days to accomplish their target, and that's that. So in book 2, for book 1 I gave like a solid 5-star. Book 2, I gave it a 4.5 star, but then rounded it up to 5-star. The reason I think I gave book 2 a 4.5 star is because, first of all, I felt like the pacing was a bit slower compared to book 1. And then I also felt like with book 2, now we had to kind of get to know the characters much better. So there was like a bit of backstory for each and every character. The same thing was happening in book 1, but book 1 was not so intense. I feel like book 2 went deeper into everyone's pasts. People like Wylan in book 1, I feel like they weren't explored that much. Same to Jesper. In book 2, now you're given full backstories about them, kind of, I guess, to sympathize, or I don't know, to create the connection with characters, you know. Even when you look at in terms of sizes, book 2 is a bit bigger than book 1. So for me, that kind of, I don't want to say bored, but it kind of, you know, when you're reading something action-packed and then a chapter ends in a cliffhanger, I want to know what happens next. I don't want to start reading now. I don't know. Like, it's like, okay, yes, I know why I should read this to get who this character is and why they're acting like that. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to know what's happening in the story right now. Like, was this person captured? Did they die? Did they betray the rest? Like, guys, even before I go on, I have to give a shout out to Anindo, Marita, Alia, and Lynn for holding my hand and supporting me emotionally through the reading of this book. They are members of our fantasy book club, so I will go there and rant or just DM them individually when the anxiety was too high for me. For those who know me, I'm the person who Googles endings before I even watch movies and series because I just get too anxious. So they were really trying to calm me down and tell me like a few hints without spoiling the whole thing so that I'm able to. Guys, there's parts like I was at the edge of my seat. I'm like, will this person betray the whole group, or oh no, what has happened? So yeah, for a book to evoke such emotions, you just know it's well written. What I also loved about book 2 is that when Leigh was writing this book, she did not give it a phantom, how do I put this, like she did not give Kaz some godlike personality. I don't really know if that makes sense, because what I mean is that it's not that everything he attempted or all the plans he came up with was successful. He fails a number of times in book 2, and I really appreciated that, because it shows he's human and he makes plans, but the things don't always work out how you want. You can't always get what you want, and sometimes you have to improvise, sometimes you have to take the L, you have to sit with it and think about it. Like, he makes mistakes and admits that he made mistakes. So eventually, yes, they succeed, but what I liked is that it wasn't that everything is just success after success. No, we were shown the highs and lows of what they were going through during this mission. I also liked in both books, I really loved that the story did not end up being romance dominated. I'm saying this because essentially these 2 books are young adult books, because the characters are 16, 17, and you know how these characters can get. But there was such a nice slow burn, especially with Kaz and, okay, I'm just going to say Inej, because you're going to pick it up even the moment you start reading the book. There's such a nice slow burn, but it didn't take away from their gangsterness. It didn't take away from who they are as individuals. It didn't make them start making foolish decisions. I really respect that. The only couple who we saw openly really loved each other was Nina and Matthias, and I was okay with that. But you know, I just liked that as much as there was this coupling and stuff going on, it didn't become a whole CG love triangle thing, because we all know YA books really love this love triangle business. So I'm really glad that it wasn't that at all. It was just a nice slow burn. You could see how all of these people, they have their own heavy pasts, and they're always moving with an armor on, and you know, it's just nice to see how through this mission they became family, like they came to understand each other as family. One thing I think I mentioned in the other video about these books was, again, the cognitive dissonance. These are supposed to be teenagers, but in my head, for some reason, they feel like people in their late 20s. That was I just really got like a cognitive. I can't picture 16 and 17-year-olds behaving like this, but it is what it is. We leave it at that. The one thing I didn't like about this book was there's a character who dies. I won't say who, but I felt like that death was so unnecessary. I actually felt like it was just a death that was put there for the sake of, you know, fulfilling this fantasy criteria where someone we all love dies. But like, I feel like it was a very unnecessary death. But all in all, guys, I am late to the party, but I love these 2. I love them. I recommend them. I don't know, I can't explain. I really enjoyed these 2, and I think it's so exciting because I'm not a big fan of YA, and this didn't feel like YA to me. It just felt like a nice fantasy book. So I was told the trilogy that comes before this is the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and true to my nature, I have already started hunting down the books. So I have book 2 and book 3. I'm waiting for my good friend Abdi to bring in book 1 so I can get it. But yeah, I'm already that excited, and I have a feeling I might be getting the other, is it a duology or trilogy after this, the King of Scars, because I hear there that set of books is paced 1 year after this, so some of the characters are still there. So yeah, I guess that's all. I don't know if you guys have read this duology, if you love them. If not, I would recommend it. You know, like, just because I love a book doesn't mean you'll 100% love it, but it's honestly one of the best books I've read this year. And yeah, that's it. That's my review for book 2 specifically. And yeah, read this, guys, read this. And that's all for today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.